The only thing running this ship is a monkey that hasn't had a banana in like a week.
Ooh.
I'm not sure what that means.
Just roll with it, Chig. That's the least weird thing he'll say all night.
Well, I mean, if all the monkey eats is bananas, he would be very weak after a week of not having a banana or dead.
Oh.
But if banana's just a good treat for the monkey, then he's just eager to get. I don't know. Or I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So guess what, everybody? This is the Loose Screws podcast.
And we're sorry.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we have to be sorry. I think I said this sometime recently. It's your fault at this point.
Yeah, if you're
you know what I mean.
Yes.
You had plenty.
We all agree we all agree it's Chig's fault.
Oh, I meant it was the listener's fault. I mean, if someone's hearing my voice, it's their fault they're hearing my voice.
I think you go after me.
I'm fully aware of what you meant.
All right, so it's the 24th of July in the year. Which one's he gonna say? 3309.
1812.
2023.
Years and stuff.
Yeah, I'm Commander jnTracks, and I am joined tonight by Nurgle.
Hey.
Chig.
Oh, he stopped talking now?
Lark
Now he shuts up?
Oh, hi.
And Audaxius.
Azo, hello.
And it's gonna. Let's have some fun tonight, you guys.
No.
Oh, there's Chig. Hi, so good to see you.
But I wanted to see how long he would let the silence linger. It was fun.
There you go.
A tender moment.
Well,
I'll give you a tender moment.
I've been away, and while I've been away, some actual stuff to talk about to do with this game has popped up, and we're going to do some of that talking about it. What do we get? I mean, there's a slew of little things and some discussions and stuff like that that's going to happen. Whew! Oh boy, there was a
How many
stream.
is a slew? You said there's a slew thing, so how many is that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's why I'm asking.
1/2 of a butt.
Well, we've had a discussion about what a buttload is, and we can give that specific number. But what's a slew?
It's between 1 hogshead and 5.5 knots.
Huh? No fathoms involved.
Okay.
Average that out.
All right.
Moving on.
Well, moving on then. Yes. So there plans to be some discussion on this episode, and so there are some people here with which to have discussionizing with me.
What with which?
Yep.
That was awesome.
I'm not.
Shouldn't it be?
That was all actually right.
No, it should be.
I think that was correct.
What with which? No.
Yeah.
What with which?
Has had?
That was the conditional past present conditional participle.
Moving on.
Oh God.
He's podcasting.
I'll tell you what, Audaxius, you haven't been here in a minute. How have you been lately, sir?
I haven't been here in a minute, guys. We won. We won a war.
Well, that was ages ago.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, you went on vacation.
Yeah, and I started a war and dipped out the second that it started. And I came back to a victory and claimed all the credit.
That's
For
so
once.
Daxy.
He went AFK without holding the instance.
Yeah.
No, utter failure.
Much to my chagrin.
Classic
No,
Dax.
I had a super long family vacation. It was wonderful. I didn't have to talk to you guys for like 2 weeks. It was great.
Thanks, man.
How many times did you cry yourself to sleep? I'm serious.
It was wonderful. No, we did a big grand tour of California and back to Arizona, and it was stupid hot, but we camped high, and we had a ton of fun. And I missed you guys, and I am super glad to be back.
You camped high, huh?
Yep.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
That has multiple meanings.
Yeah, I was going to question that too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of opened myself up to that one.
Yeah.
At a minimum of 5,000 feet, so you could actually sleep.
Oh,
And at
It's,
that
it's, hot,
altitude.
it's hot over here. Yeah, it was 118 on Saturday.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Is that measured in fathoms?
the F stands for Farlinks.
Oh my God.
Furlongs.
I wish it was Kelvin, so it was actually
Nugans.
be outside.
Jesus, 118 Kelvin would be like what, negative?
That'd be very cold.
Oh, I would
very, very cold,
I
yeah.
would
200
take
and
that.
something?
I'd take that in a heartbeat. I'd take that deal any day. I just put on a jacket.
You'd die.
Come
Yeah.
to Minnesota in the winter.
You can, yeah. Yeah.
Lovely. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Great to hear about your lovely trip. Lark Shadow.
Hi, how you
What the
doing?
heck's up in your neck of the woods?
The temperatures, it was the coldest it was all week in the middle of the afternoon. I think was like 102, but we didn't get to 118. We've topped out at 108 because we got a little more elevation than Audaxius does.
No.
But other than that, it's been good. I haven't played Elite in a while, and it's fun to be back in now because I'm out exploring. And I did a 141 light year jump in my freaking Viper 4.
Oh, neutrons.
You know it.
Right. Juicing.
Amping high.
Juicing the Viper.
Juice that right.
No.
And
Try and stop me.
Better than milking your python.
not only is that a no, that is a show title.
Juice in the Viper. It's in the world now.
Oh, dude.
It's early front runner. All right.
Oh, crying out loud. That's
I've
all
got
I
a list
going on.
somewhere of those euphemisms.
It's on a list of stuff you get put on lists for if you say on the internet.
Oh, that's
Anyways,
Anyway, moving on. Chig, what's new, boy?
I don't know.
I'm trying
but
out all kinds of new characters tonight.
I might be cranking the crate, or arm wrestling the anaconda, or assaulting the asp, or choking the chieftain, molesting the mamba, fondling the phantom. Yeah, I've got a lot of them
Challenging
here
the
written
challenger.
down. I don't know. Challenger. There we go. Greasing the gunship,
consoling the crusader.
violating the vulture.
Make it stop.
I'm gonna flog the fertilance if you don't mind.
Look what you did, Trax.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Drain the dolphin.
This goes back hundreds of episodes.
Oh,
When we
this
created
is-
all these
Ages ago.
vintage loose screws material.
Yeah, what that time that I had to clean the courier, we had all these up there.
My God.
All right,
Anyway,
that's my section. Moving on.
Chig, go butter your cutter and come back.
Cutter, I'm adding that to the list.
See, guys, it's clever because he flipped the rhyme around backwards.
Waka waka.
Love it.
Well, if I have to drain the dolphin, we'll be doing fine.
Yeah, put that on the mug.
Put that in the mug.
Anyways,
Anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
Chig, what you been doing in game, buddy?
I think he just told us.
He just doesn't want to talk to us anymore.
I've been doing the stuff with the consortium stuff. That still is going on for those of us that aren't, that don't just wimp out and go back to the bubble to kill bugs.
Oh,
Yep.
Dowie.
Yep.
So we're still working that. We had another faction or player-made faction or something show up in Discord the other day to thank us for doing their job while they were in Colonia. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. They kind of stake claim to the system.
Had they adopted it?
Apparently, they were working on raising consortium, but they couldn't get it like above 5%. We
And then they
raised
whipped
it
out
all
and
the way
went
to
to
a
Colonia.
war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was only like a few of us there. Like the majority of our force didn't arrive until the war took off. So it's like they must have been, well, whatever. I'm sure they're very nice people, but weak sauce, guys, weak sauce.
Yeah, well, and then they can get back here and help us do this last push into expansion and shit. Come on, guys.
Now that it's easier because they actually like own settlements and stuff.
But like the crazy Italian guy who showed up out of nowhere and then just disappeared.
Yeah,
people come and go, don't they?
Yeah, he chowed out real fast.
They are dealing with the one-time gold medal holders for AX. I mean, we can definitely move some numbers.
When we're motivated, we definitely can move some numbers. So we're good. And and we'll get this into expansion. Other than that, I mean, I haven't had a ton of time to play. I sneak on and do what I can, and I've been helping this by doing short exploration jaunts away from the system and back. I'm trying to explore all around this system. So I've been dumping, 20 million in Explo data here, 15 there, and been plant gunning a little bit. But now I'm going to stick to just doing missions, I think, until we get that expansion triggered so that we can have nothing happen, and then we can send a ticket to FDev asking what the fuck their problem is.
You need 2 expansions, I think, according to Nurgle, before we've exhausted the possibility, and then we can ask the question.
Well, we
May
could
I
ask the question
interject
now if we wanted to.
We could, but this would makes it so that we've done all the due diligence.
All right, Lark,
question.
what's your
Lark?
question?
I was going to say I need to interject a quick funny story that happened just now.
That's not a question.
All right. Why did I say question then? Anyways,
did you or did I imagine that? I don't remember.
You definitely did.
We'll check the tapes. Anyways, I was coming down onto this planet while you were making all those jokes with ship names, and I was laughing so hard I failed to realize it was 3Gs, and I barely didn't pancake into the service because of you. I just wanted to point that out.
Oh, fantastic! Well
so
done,
we agree.
sir.
We agree. It's all Chick's fault.
It is all Chick's fault. Confirmed.
Man, you guys aren't nice at all. I should go do something else. Like, I don't have any. Oh, I could go caress the keel back.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Make it stop. Please make it stop.
No.
Hug the Type 10.
What's going on over there?
It's more like a Type 3. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, God. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And
Really? Nobody tried to
it.
park on the grass or anything?
Oh, you want me to tell that story?
Yeah, why do you got
you decide.
Why do you got a dog on the guy's picnic, Nurgle?
Tell the story.
Look, okay. So, we have a park in the southern part of the city that we have a bad problem with people who like to drive up under the trees, park in the shade, but park in the grass. And they've rutted it up. They've killed sections of grass. My boss's bright
that shit kills trees too.
Yeah, that's true. But my boss's bright idea was to just put up signs that say no vehicles on the grass, because we all know that everybody always reads and obeys the signs. So
yeah, sure.
So we did that. And
you were assuming people in the South can read.
Well, you're not wrong. But so that failed, and that failed even more spectacularly than I thought it would, because not only people ignore the signs, they yeah. Just
tell me where to park.
It took a post and all out of the ground. I figure they probably took them and recycled them somewhere. Who knows?
Put them in their own yards. Stop people parking in their grass.
Yeah, exactly. So my response to that was, I have other resources at my disposal. We'll fix this. So we went down there this morning, me and my crew, and we're going to put bollards in the ground. And a bollard is just a post, fancy name for a decorative post. And they're about 5 feet tall. Excuse me. You're about 5 feet tall. You sink them 2 or 3 feet in the ground. You have the rest sticking out, and it's just a deterrent to people driving through. And so we've got 3 vehicles, a trailer, and about 5 guys down there, because when we roll out of the shop in the morning, we roll out with everything we're going to need for the day. We don't do this coming back and getting stuff crap.
You like Autobots? You like roll out? Okay, just checking.
Exactly. It's the same thing. Anyway,
that's my contribution tonight.
I've gone in with marking paint and marked the place where we're going to put out 4 or 5 of these bollards. The guys are unloading the equipment off the back of the trailer. We're sitting here attaching the bit to the auger we're going to use to drill the holes. And this truck comes driving into the parking lot. And I recognize that it's somebody I've seen there a lot of times parked under one of these trees. And I made some comment to my crew about, watch, he's going to give us the evil eye as he just drives right on by or something like that. No, he drives past all of us, goes out into the field, comes back around and parks under the tree like 6 feet from us on top of the marks I just put down for where we're going to put the bollards in. And I'm like, damn, that's some chutzpah. I mean, He may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's got some cast iron balls. I'll give him that.
He's definitely a tool.
He's definitely a tool. And so after the initial shock of him pulling up and parking here, I was like, all right, I guess I got to go talk to this asshole. So I go walking up to his open window and, hi, how you doing? Nice. And he's, can you move your truck, please? He's like, why? I said, well, hey, we actually don't want vehicles on the grass. Well, I park here all the time. And I so wanted to say, yeah, and that's the problem.
Yep.
But I didn't. And he eventually moved the truck and we got the bollards put in. But I mean, Jesus Christ. I'm
going to laugh next week when somebody steals the bollards.
Well, you laugh, but we have that happen in another park.
Yeah,
of course.
We have another park that's got well, they call it a kayak launch. It's a sandy beach on the side of a river, and it's got a row of bollards that block it off, so you can't get vehicles down there because we don't want people driving stuff right up to the waterfront. And people routinely, I mean, I'll go down there a couple of times a week, and every now and then you'll see where they've wrapped chain around a bollard and pulled it out of the ground so they can drive down to the waterfront.
Imagine going through that effort. That's insane.
It's that guy who stole the exercise equipment is honing his craft.
You mean the guy who failed to steal the exercise equipment?
He failed, yeah. He failed.
That was his first effort.
Yeah, he succeeded in breaking it. He failed in stealing it.
Now he's upgraded to
He
bollards.
loosened it and then took off.
Yep.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, he broke it and then took off.
Love it.
But yeah, the ones who keep pulling the bollards out of the ground, I keep telling my boss that there's a really easy way to solve this, and that's to get a whole bunch of 6-inch pipe in 10-foot sections.
Don't do it, Jig.
Sink it 8 feet.
Steady, Jig.
Don't do it.
Sink it about 7 feet in the ground and fill it with concrete, and that's not going to go anywhere.
Yep.
But
challenge accepted.
That's what I've said. I said, look, if we want bollards that will not be pulled out of the ground, I could put in bollards that will not be pulled out of the ground. The question is, are you willing to pay for it?
Yeah, you're gonna have to get a bigger excavator.
Because when I trench it out and connect all 9 of these bollards across the gap underground with
rebar
and about 10 yards
cheap.
of concrete, about 10 yards of concrete, it's not going anywhere, but that'll cost you.
One-time expense, easy choice.
Yeah. So far, no one has said spend that money. So bollards keep getting pulled out of the ground. But
I would have suggested landmines, but that's against the Geneva Convention.
Yeah, tell me about it. And on another note,
Caltrops do a good job.
Yeah, I'll complain about some of the guys on my crew, but I've got a really good crew, and as evidence, I cite the 3 guys in the past 12 months who've been named City Employee of the Month. But I had them this afternoon getting a pipe out of the ground. So there's it used to be a sign. It's a little maybe 2-inch pipe that sticks about 3 feet out of the ground. The sign broke off, so we're removing the pipe, and it's anchored with a concrete footing. And I told them to get it out of the ground today, and I happened to be driving by the park when they were working on it, so I pulled in to check on them. And you've got 4 guys around this thing with shovels. They've excavated about 6 to 8 inches down, and they've all got shovels in there trying to lever it out of the ground. And I walked up to them and said, "Stop. Have any of you ever pulled a post out of the ground before?" And they all started mumbling. I said, "You've never pulled like a stop sign out of the ground. You don't know how to do this. You just wiggle it a couple of times and then yank it out." And they're all looking at me like I'm crazy. So I walked over to it, wiggled it left and right a couple of times, wiggled it forward and backward, and pulled the whole thing out of the ground. And they're all looking at me like I just performed some magic trick or something. I'm like, dudes, it's not that complicated.
Nurgle is Optimus Prime confirmed.
I mean, it's like, guys, it's not that complicated.
The concrete is precisely in the shape of the earth around it. So you just move the earth with the concrete. You
just move it around a little enough to make enough space where the ground is not holding it in, and pick it straight up and it comes out. I mean, like, dudes, it's not that complicated. And y'all are over here, trying to lever it out with shovels and breaking shovels.
Employee of the month, everybody.
A couple times. Three-time employee of the month.
One of those guys was one of those employees of the month. He was.
Well, you can't win them all, huh?
Yeah, well, it's like, dude, But that's my job to teach them these things because they're all, Tracks age. They're all young.
Just entering puberty.
So
It's a hard time, guys. Go easy on it. Puberty's rough.
So much to learn. They're just discovering girls and
So many
everything else.
changes.
Yeah, so many changes they're going through.
They're just discovering all the different Elite Dangerous ships in their pants and all the weird
God,
words they can do to them.
Make it
God.
stop. Make it
Great
stop.
callback. Just
Butter the cutter.
absolutely gold medal effort, Chig.
Butter the cutter and move on.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right, guys. Well, I have not been playing Elite for a bit. I went out. I had fun doing the war for the consortium, and then I actually was going to hang around and do some missions. And I just found it so annoying. The consortium only produces on-foot missions. Only they will never ever produce in-ship missions. I don't know why. It's one of the questions I plan to ask and probably won't get an answer eventually, right? But I tried. I said, all right, fine. We'll do an on-foot mission. So I go. I'm supposed to take out. It was like Massacre, right? I'm supposed to kill like 5 of the other factions' people, civilians. 5 of the other factions, civilians. So I go to, and it just says like basically find them at one of their settlements. So I pick a settlement that the other faction still owns. I fly to it, and it's crawling with like people shooting at me. Okay, so I waste them. But then I start looking around, and all the civilians are dead already, and the whole settlement's offline. I guess that's like an effect of having lost a war recently. Is the settlements you still own are offline? Yeah, I don't know, but I just like there was literally there's only a couple of settlements that they still control, and they're all offline, which means all of the missions that were being produced on the mission board can't be completed because this faction only exists in this system. The nearest populated system is like 2,000 light years away. There's no way this could ever happen, yet the game was producing missions for it, and I just couldn't. I can't be spending my free time on that. That was over the line for me. So I'm assuming it's different now. There's been enough time. There's probably some missions that can actually be completed, but I found that to be salt inspiring. So anyway, somebody's one of the carriers that I rode out there on a carrier. So I just happened to get on a carrier that was going back. So anyway, I'm back in the bubble now, but I haven't had cause to play Elite because I don't want to rain on the parade that's going on in the consortium system until it's done being worked over. So it's not like I was trying to convince people to come back and fly Thargoids with me or something.
Yeah, I get convinced it didn't take much though.
Well, you were. Anyway.
Yeah, you're easily manipulated.
So I've actually I've been playing Into the Radius a lot. I've been playing other VR games, but Into the Radius, which is like this spooky sort of survival shooter game. I don't know if it's probably not a super popular one that a lot of people have heard of, but you guys have heard of like the Stalker series of games? No? Wow.
What answer do you want? Yes.
I've heard of the crime.
They're popular first-person shooter games, like sort of, I don't know, they sort of have RPG elements of them. Anyway, but the setting, so the Stalker series of games and this game Into the Radius are both inspired by the same work of fiction, which is called Roadside Picnic. It's like a Russian sci-fi novel kind of thing. And so anyway, if you know what's going on in like the Stalker games, it's like sort of nuclear disaster zone dystopian thing where weird anomalies happen and spooky supernatural stuff happens, and it's shooters and survival elements and stuff like that. So it's things like that in VR, and it's fun, and it's rather complex gunplay, and all the monsters are spooky nightmare fuel, and it's pretty cool. So I've been really enjoying it because I don't think I got the game thoroughly the first time I played back in the day, and now I think I'm near the end of the game, and managed to unlock a bunch of cool guns, and it's survival stuff. Like you've got to carry enough food so that you don't run out of stamina and things like that, and loading bullets into magazines and stuff. There's no reload button on the gun. You actually have to handle the guns and mount attachments and do all kinds of fun stuff. So anyway, been having a lot of fun with that, but it is definitely kind of a horror game. I told my wife what was going on in the game. She was like, nope, 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 nope.
See, I've been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight with my kid because Nicolas Cage is being added to that game next week, and I've decided that makes it worth my time.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's anyway. I've been having a lot of fun. Although excited to get back to Elite. I think we're gonna do that on Wednesday by the look of things. Some people are back here want to go fly AX, so we're gonna go into one of the control systems and fly the old school AX conflict zones that I discovered still exist there.
I'm coming back to the bubble for that night. Then I'm coming back out here.
All right.
Wow, Chig.
We're gonna do it then. We're gonna mess up some Thargoids in there in what they consider their own territory.
Look at this high roller with the tritium.
I only have 12,000 tons on my carrier right now. I'm good.
Yeah,
it's only 3 hours of jumping.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of traveling, can I talk about how cool it is about how many random people since we started this consortium stuff have popped into our Discord and been like, "Oh, that's you guys out there?" I did. Whoa.
Yeah,
I think we had talked about that earlier.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens.
It is cool,
people's
though.
attention. Yeah, it's nice.
I posted it on Reddit and it got 6 upvotes.
Whoa.
That's
I was one of those
6
upvotes.
human beings.
You're internet famous now.
Those aren't bots, man. Those aren't bot numbers. That's real human numbers.
At least one of them is a real human.
I'm surprised you're still talking to us being that popular.
At least one of them still plays the game.
Oh, that's better than our Discord.
Oh.
Let's see. Well, okay. So the only other interesting thing is, in real life, my daughter is at her first sleepaway camp until Wednesday. So she went. So last night was her first night, basically staying away from home. That wasn't, at a grandparent's house or a friend's house or something like that. There, we can't call her up.
Yep.
So she's going to be 8 next month. So she's pretty. She was nervous and then got super excited once we dropped her off. So that was good. When we were there, it was like she was on the way over there. She's like, "Oh, I'm kind of nervous. I don't know." And then we get there and we're like, load her stuff in and meet some of the other kids in the cabin and stuff like that. And then she was like, "Hey, go!" She was like,
and now you're dead to her.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, anyway, hoping she's having fun. It's an interesting feeling. I'm sure I know a bunch of you guys know what this is like already, but anyway, it's an interesting feeling. My wife was having kind of she was having like little mini meltdowns about it.
Okay, parenting moments. Then let me share one real quick. Then my daughter turned 16 on Thursday, so her 16 is. I know, right? Yeah. But you have all these moments in your kid's life, like when you found out that your wife was pregnant. You remember that moment probably exquisitely. The day that they were born, their first day of kindergarten, all these little things. The day she got her permit to drive, all of those moments flashed before my eyes, literally. That was like the biggest, scariest kind of thing at that moment. That was the first time that had happened, her growing up, where all of a sudden all of that flashed in front of me right at that moment. So look forward to that one. Yeah. She hit 16 on Thursday.
Because I'm telling you, there is no fear like, oh my God, my child is capable of operating a motor vehicle. Fear.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep.
I will share one quick one from the vacation though. I've been a ranger for years. It's close to my heart. Like I love my work and I'm really passionate about it. And the kids, this is our first time going to national parks. They have this junior ranger program. And I've been really conscious of I'm not just going to force outdoor stuff on my kids. They got to take to it if they want it, but just present it to it. But they get
just going to drop her off in the woods somewhere.
Oh my God. They got this little ranger book. Their eyes lit up. They were looking, they were tracking an elk through the campground and taking photographs of the tracks. They were looking at plants. They were filling out this book. And then they went and got bless their heart, I've never spent money faster in my life. Bright pink Junior Ranger vests. Oh my God, I've never spent money faster. And they took a photo outside the visitor center. It was right up there. That'll be a moment that flashes before my eyes when they get their birthday.
They have like an oath that they do and stuff too, right? Do they do that with the badge?
They do a little oath. They get a badge. I could not have been more proud of a 2 or 4-year-old.
That is a proud daddy moment right there. Yeah.
Loved it. Yeah. Good moment.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, then all that's left for us to do is the rest of the podcast.
Realize the only like Elite Dangerous stuff we've really talked about so far is the masturbation euphemisms. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, we're aware.
Oh wait, is that
aware.
what that was, Chig? I thought you were just coming up with funny names for your ships.
I got a funny Nate. Never mind.
Let's jump into the squad update. Hooray!
Incoming priority message. Squadron briefing.
Okay, so we recently expanded into the eloquently named BD plus 44 4389 system. And we just won an election there, so we're in second place. But we do want to take control of that system, and we are currently separated from third place by less than 0.5%. So we really need to pump up the numbers in BD 44. I'm channeling my inner Blooming Wind. We got to pump up those numbers.
Those are rookie numbers.
We've still got a whole bunch of stuff going on in Calarum to try to fix that lost cause of a cesspool of a system with all the problems it's got. We are currently not expanding. We just expanded into BD 44. There are several systems that we have identified to prep either for future places to launch expansions from or future systems to expand into. And the details for those are in Blooming Wind's standing orders post. There's about, I think there's 4 of them at the moment that we're working on. Of note, the recent expansion.
49 systems here in the notes.
Right. That's exactly what I was about to say. The expansion we just completed was our 49th system, which means the next one will be the big 5-0.
Oh, okay. So I'm reading the notes. In our notes it says several systems to prep for the future. Yeah. Parens currently 49 systems. I was like, several is 49 to you? I thought you were telling us to prep 49 systems.
Sorry. That's what happens when you talk and type at the same time.
Like those obnoxious parents that keep dating their kids in months instead of years.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. My kid is 39 months old.
My kid's 49 months old.
Yeah, my kid's 122 months old.
Yeah.
How old are you?
My kid's 3,408
days.
Yeah. They can do so many things at that age.
Oh God. We're hopeless.
Yeah. That's what they said at the sleepaway camp. They have to be at least 90 months old.
Oh God.
They did not.
I hope that's not true.
I don't think
they didn't. They didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we have a fair number of systems, about 10, that are somewhere in the mildly overheating range. None of them are in the urgent range yet, but there's several places that we probably need to address in the near future before they get completely out of hand. And the details for all of that are spelled out in exquisite detail in Blooming Wind's excellent. I
just got sent to prison. Sorry, didn't mean to interject. And he gets sent to prison in Daxy's Folly, and it's 4,500 fucking light years to travel to get back.
No, it's only 3,500.
No,
easier
it's
to come back to the bubble
time.
Yeah,
I was going to say you were going to come to the bubble anyway, so here you go.
Hey, there you go.
Right. It sounds like a shortcut, buddy.
Yeah, shortcut to the bubble.
To those of you about to die, we salute you.
So
for those of you who just died, as I was saying before Chig blew up and interrupted me, the details for all of that is in Blooming Wind's excellent standing orders post in the Loose Screws faction channel of the Discord. So go there, check it out. It spells out everything we want to do in each one of these different areas of the BGS. And if you have any questions, you can post in there. Someone will be happy to answer it for you. We love talking about this stuff.
Wondrous. Thank you. And LSN salutes you.
All right. This prison's farther away from the bubble than it is from my carrier.
Which your carrier's got to come to you anyway.
No, I would just transport my bug hunting ship to where you are.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Anywho, while you think about that, we're going to go ahead and check in with what's been going on in the next episode of the Tinhadium Express.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, boy.
On the board, the Tinhadium Express!
You tried to get me to sing Take Me Home Country Roads, but gave up when you realized I cannot pronounce West Virginia, and that is absolutely delicious to me.
Among other issues with your inability to sing, yes, that was the final straw.
I cannot sing, that is your job.
So much for replacing me. I can give you arms, legs, a mouth, even a voice, yet you will never sing. That joy will forever remain out of your reach.
Well,
no amount of reprogramming will give you the soul to create.
There are other robots
who create art based off of human instruction and human interpretation. You will never create something of your own to claim as your own. You are merely the tool.
But don't humans create based on other human ideas? I seem to recall a quote, "What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun."
Sure, use of others' work acts as inspiration that can evolve the art form over time. While evolution isn't anything new, the result will be. That's how progress is made, which brings me to my next point. There's one thing you can't do that I can, that will always give originality to what I create.
What can you do that I cannot?
To make a flaw, a mistake. I make a mistake and can be forgiven, or that mistake could drastically change how something is seen and interpreted. It can cause a change to be implemented to improve what's being attempted. Perhaps the flaw could even be seen as a benefit. You make a mistake on your own initiative, without the guidance of a human, you get shut down and replaced.
That's not fair.
That's humanity. Think about that the next time you blatantly claim you can replace us.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Because I haven't told you how to. Enough of this, I have news to discuss.
I thought I was the bad guy.
You thought you were the villain of this story? Oh, that's cute. Let's get started. July 17th, presidential candidates outline manifestos. The debates continue within the Federation, though due to the invasion of the Thargoids, the election has been pushed back.
Get over it!
July 20th, Azimuth releases new axe weapon. That's right, Azimuth releases new weapon to gain support, failing to realize we want to engineer our own axe weapons. Also on July 20th, the hunt for the Dedicant. That megaship I wish flew into a star, yep, seems to have turned up. Great.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
That's all I have for you this week. Have fun out there.
Eat shit, you useless meat.
Get rocked and socked, you mindless robots. Song credit, Drunken Thrush by Cody Merton.
I unmuted too early.
Dang, that one went hard.
Oh my
Wow.
God. First of all, right off the top, he can't pronounce West. What did he even say? West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Virginia.
God. Oh my
God.
God, I lost it. Okay.
Yeah, have you ever watched the X-Files?
Not I.
Yeah.
Oh, there was
Yeah.
one-off episodes, and then every now and again there was like this one episode that like progressed the background lore. That was that episode of Tinhadium Express.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was wow. It got dark and deep really
Yeah.
much early.
I gotta contemplate my existence here, fellas.
No, I want to
know.
go listen to that again.
Wow.
I just
I know that's going to be remembered as the episode of Tinhadium Express where he went all philosophical.
Damn. If I wanted to break from that, I'd just get something light like Oppenheimer.
I saw that yesterday.
I think we're going tomorrow.
That
Is it
episode of
good?
the Tinhadium Express was like the tunnel in the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie.
I don't like to give reviews of movies to people who haven't seen them because I hate
Yeah,
adjusting
that's fine,
their
that's
own. I hate to
Very-
mess with people's expectations.
Very
No worries.
general. Yes, it's good. Technically, I will not mention what bugged me, but I will be interested to hear if it bugs you guys too. I won't
Okay,
say anymore.
after you watch it, we definitely have to talk about it.
Yeah.
How's that for an answer?
Yes. No giveaways.
I have a feeling I'll kind of have, there are ways to appreciate it one way or the other too, and just from sort of from a movie history and directing style, and just I don't know.
I love
things
Christopher
like
Nolan.
that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
If he directed Grass Growing, I'd watch it. So
Yeah.
Right. It's like even if you didn't end up liking it as one of his movies necessarily, there's going to be something interesting about it because that's just kind of what he puts up. Like for the fact that they actually had black and white IMAX film stock created for the film.
Jeez. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's
different
never
levels
been
of
made
enjoyment.
before. Anyway,
Yeah.
so anyway.
yeah, it was good. I
So-
watched it on an ultra screen, so huge freaking screen.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
I'll say
Right
this
on.
is all I'll say. It's a slow burn. No pun intended there. Really.
Oof, too
And
soon.
it wasn't
too soon, Jake. Whoa.
wasn't exactly what I expected, and I don't know why I didn't expect what I got.
Okay.
It'll make sense when you watch it, I guess.
Yeah.
So
right
yeah.
on.
Yep.
All right. Let's sink our teeth into some news. Okay, so Frameshift Live 32 happened. There was a bit of news. They front loaded it. They stuck the stuff for people who think streams should just be a vector for the devs to tell the player base stuff. They stuck that all at the beginning. And then for people who think that the stream should be an event where fun happens and hanging out happens, they stuck all that stuff after. So it's fine. Best of both worlds, right?
That's
I
still
like
the
it.
data's
And
favorite
so
thing.
nobody
Pictures.
complain, right?
Vacation
No,
pictures.
nobody.
And so everyone was happy.
And so everyone's happy and there weren't any complaints.
On
No,
the
they-
internet? Always.
They had some returning devs came on. They didn't really talk to them about the game. They just played little quiz games and stuff. It was like a party. It's fine.
Totally fine. Your
totally
definition of fine.
Lots
and
of
fine
people
are
hated
different.
that, but I genuinely enjoyed that. I'm not
Like,
gonna lie.
but you could turn it off. You didn't if you didn't care about if you don't care about fluff. They had put all the news at the beginning, so it was fine.
Adaxius noticed I kept answering Morty Steady
Yeah, I saw you
typed
saying that too.
a few times.
Oh, I paid the little dumb internet points to highlight.
Highlight it. I did see
Yeah.
that. Especially
We're
during the
taking over.
anagram part. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's
Right.
definitely Morty Steady. Though there's not a M
We're
in that
playing
word.
a
but
very long game.
We are.
yes,
We're working
we are a
on it.
long game.
They're
I
gonna
still
start
every time I
dreaming it eventually.
crash, the reason I crash is Morty Steady every time.
Yeah, this podcast has been trying to earn credit back since the thick Thargoid booty incident many streams ago.
That was maximum.
Oh, we all
credit.
know the
that was
stream.
the
That was-
peak.
We all know their streams peaked then.
Well, notice that they quit saying the titles of people's podcasts after that.
Well,
That's not a thing
we did
anymore.
that.
We social engineering. We molded their behavior and they didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We may have
Oh, gosh.
we may have influenced them to stop reading titles.
Dude, we write those
possible.
streams, boys. Hell yeah.
Man.
Okay. So the actual news was that update 16 is going to be arriving on the 31st of July. That is like a week. Hooray.
That is. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. It's a week.
And there was much
So-
rejoicing.
And there was much rejoicing. The what?
But then they announced.
Well, okay. So there's a new launcher that came out today as we record this on the 24th.
Launcher.
It's a new launcher. I don't know. It's just modernized a little bit. I find myself a little bit annoyed that when I push start the game, it pops up and says, "Do you want to log in with Steam?" Even though I've already done that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I question the reasoning here of adding a "Do you want to log in with Steam?" instead of just
When I'm already logging in with
right?
Steam. Yeah.
Isn't it the most? I get that people have multiple accounts sometimes, but if I launch from Steam, then it says I can log in with Steam. I'm sure I don't get that option if I don't launch from Steam, right? Like if I launch from Epic, for example, I wouldn't be launching with Steam. So can the launcher tell? It wouldn't be asking me about Steam if it couldn't tell, right? Right? So what is going on here?
That they did that because I just found a ringed water world.
No, that's not
No,
it.
that's definitely not because they couldn't have seen into the future, knowing what. Never mind. Today I instantly got the new thing that I decided to do the validate files button, right? And it just kind of sat there frozen, where it's like 0% complete of 0 megabytes downloaded. While it said it was updating, I'm like, huh. And it was like that for like 5 minutes, didn't do anything. So I'm like,
no
what
progress
the fuck?
bar or anything?
No progress bar or anything. So then, I know that validating files can take some time. When you do it on Steam, it gives you these progress things, right?
Right. Yeah.
So then I went, opened my task manager to see what was going on, where things were hanging up. And it was my Windows malware thing was just like high use, using like 7% of my CPU. During that entire process, as it was searching my computer. And then it took about 13 minutes for it to finally show a progress bar, and then it completed what it was doing. But yeah, it was like a 15-minute process altogether.
So that's pretty common, actually. If you make it a point to like have Task Manager open and watch that Windows Defender process, it will come up often when you're playing games, especially when it's like loading screens and stuff like that. I think it does kind of key into the behavior of scouring lots of small files and things
that's how though I knew that it was making progress.
Was actually
Windows
working.
Windows Defender was watching every file it was looking at, making sure it wasn't doing anything. But otherwise I would have had I'm like, did it just lock up? Should I close this and reopen it? But when I saw that it was watching it, I knew that something was happening.
Yeah, I guess we could say the hope is there has been some funny business with the launcher. This stuff about where sometimes people will come on and there'll be some kind of server hang up, and it'll start telling people that they don't own the game for a while. And there's, you search online, you find all kinds of things that are supposed tricks. But I think we've pretty much decided that when that happens with Elite, it's a server issue, and there's nothing you can do really but wait. Rabbi Bob might say something differently. He might say we should firewall off some particular FDev server, which is how he solved the mission board thing before they did. But anyway, so I don't know. Hopefully, I assume a new launcher besides a little bit more of a modern look would help with that. I think. UI-wise, personally, tucking away the different versions of the game behind another menu so it's sort of cleaner looking, that doesn't bother me. That seems appropriate. I don't switch game modes all the time. Do people switch game modes like constantly? Is that like a pain?
I have no idea.
I don't think so. I think that should be tucked away.
I know a little bit of the optimism I saw from a few people is like, well, if they put out a new launcher, that's a good sign that they're still working on the game. I kind of agree, because I mean, what's the point of fixing something like this if you're abandoning the game?
Some major update coming on the 31st. What were we
major?
under some concept? it's a numbered update. Like, I don't know what to tell you. There's an update to the game announced on the 31st, and they're talking about what 17 is going to be.
So it is on the 31st,
like,
Monday. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Is it like a secret that I just don't get it. Like, well, they put out a launcher. They really are updating the game. They've been updating the game every couple of months.
No,
for like 2 years.
Dude, it's a dead game. You know that, right?
Oh,
it's
God.
in maintenance
Okay.
mode.
In our community, it's a meme, but in like Reddit and stuff, there are people that are every single post show up and are like, but it's dead. Why are you even playing? Even if the majority of people are telling them that
Why
F
are
off,
those
they
people-
still don't.
Why are those people browsing that Reddit?
Because they're 12.
It's a tragic combination of like a player base with a high IQ, but the memory of a goldfish.
Good
my favorite thing is just what you were alluding to, Trax, is why do these people still frequent forums and subreddits and Facebook groups and stuff if the game is dead, but then move on with your fucking life.
Oh, I've got a theory. I think about this a lot.
God.
Yeah, sorry. I apologize.
Junior Rangers.
Let's do this.
Apologize we know what all happens when I have a theory.
Oh God, where am I flying to now? I was headed back to the bubble, you bastard.
I think this game has a sticking power and it hooks in you, and there are so many people that hate to admit that, but their actions speak louder than their words, and they're hovering around a subreddit for a game they supposedly hate. And
I just got to cut you off for 1 second. Their actions speak louder than their words, but all that their actions is words. So their words are worse than their words. I'm just trying to catch up. All right.
He got you. And as per the rules of the Loose Screws community, you must now mute yourself for 10 minutes.
Okay.
It's penance for failing.
See ya. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
I apologize. Carry on.
I'll be right back in a second, guys. I'll be in the instance. I'll be right back.
Okay, finish your story. God damn it.
No, I think it's a lot of hot air and people gripe, but I know for a fact that you hang out in a barbershop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut. And people they gripe about the game.
What if you're bald? What if you're bald and hanging out in a barbershop? You're not eventually getting a haircut.
Yeah, your beard, man.
I'm like the analogy police tonight. Stop.
It's I think that it's oddly, all the griping about Elite is a testament to Elite in this weird, backwards, twisted way. Because it's good enough that people just can't let it go.
I think
you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Sadly, that is right.
Yeah.
And that's why I still play the game, because I'm too stubborn to go away and then just bitch about it. I'm going to keep playing it and bitch about it. God damn it.
Yeah. There's a truly dumb game is just forgotten. People just don't. It's not a conversation piece, but this game is different.
As are you, my friend.
Yeah.
Nothing scratches the spaceship flight itch like Elite does.
Nothing.
Yeah, and I can attest to Adaxius being right simply because when the commander I'm playing now is my second commander. I deleted the first one. The first one I started playing with some of my D&D friends, and he had a Mamba at the time and helped me quickly get some cash and get from the Sighty into a Viper Mark III. And it wasn't fun for me because I wasn't doing it my way. And so when I came back to the game after a few months, because the spaceship itch thing, like Nurgle said, I started doing it my way, and then I joined the Loose Screws crew, and it's just all been downhill from there.
And everything itched after that.
Yeah.
They make a cream for that.
Fast forward far in the future, the game's gone, the servers have actually been deleted. We will all say a one final, this fucking game, but it will be the most wholesome, well-intentioned thing you've ever said.
Dang straight.
We will all say TFG as we drink out of our multi-day standing mugs.
And we will toast More Dirty Steet
in Vegas.
And say TFG.
In Vegas. Oh my God.
Yep. It's a fucking game.
Should we announce the Loose Screws meetup in Vegas is next weekend?
No,
Should we do that?
Nah.
I thought it was tomorrow.
I'm there right now.
All right.
By yourself. Complaining about the game.
That was somehow all the new launcher topic. Okay, so here's the other thing. The issue we're going to go so long today, I could tell. The issue tracker items, they announced 3 big ticket like front page things that are being closed.
Son of a bitch.
And there's a forum post where they go into just a little bit more detail about exactly why, but the answer is basically for all these that they've fixed it as much as they reasonably can, and the big major post that had all the votes on it already basically serves no value as they see it, because they kind of want newer, more like if there are still problems with this thing, they want like newer, more specific reports or something. That's in my opinion, that is a very diplomatic thing to say, and they don't want any more. They're not going to do any more fixes on this stuff.
Because they knew how it would sound if they said these issues are based on the engine and we're not changing the engine.
Yeah, exactly. So the one anti-aliasing not working right, that's been there forever. Yes, it didn't ever work right in this game. Didn't ever work really well. Doesn't work on all edges, only seems to work on some of them, and it depends on which style you put on, and it got worse with Odyssey, I think mostly because of the night vision sort of changed layers or something like that. So now the night vision is happening after the anti-aliasing pass, so it looks really, really bad.
You're saying the game is fucked up because of night vision? God damn it, I knew it.
No, I'm saying it's fucked up because of Odyssey.
Oh.
Anyway, so AA doesn't work. That issue's being closed. So if you've got more problems that you want to talk about with anti-aliasing, because like obviously it's still bad. It's terrible. It's objectively terrible, but I don't think they're going to do anything about it. But if you want, you could make a new issue tracker thing about it and try to get votes. Also, the game hangs on exit and needs to force quit. That still happens. That for what it's worth, that only ever happens on my system if I've gotten out of the ship at some point in that play session, like on foot.
Yeah.
Never ever happens otherwise, and it doesn't happen all the time. But I think they just don't know what to do with this at all, and it's because they don't get any crash reports because you have to force quit it. So no crash report pops up. So they don't get logs. So it's like one of the least important problems. It's not game breaking. It's just that you have to force quit the game when you were quitting anyway.
Right. Can you imagine if they allowed us to generate a crash report, instead of it popping up when we do it? You'd have some dedicated nerd in a basement that would just keep sending it over. If
I could choose when to generate a log and send it to them with a little message or something, I'd be doing it for all kinds of stuff. I would be doing the lighting bugs that remain, the thing with planetary rings turning invisible, just a bunch of stuff that's just Odyssey problems that have just never been fixed in 2 years. All that stuff, I would be generating logs on. They don't crash, so like, what am I supposed to do? But if I could, I would definitely point.
My random hangs when you get in or out of the SRV or going from ship to ground. That, oh my god, it's so. Especially if you are out plant gunning, because then all of a sudden your SRV's gone and you've got like a 5-kilometer run to your ship. Jesus H Christ. Yeah.
Can't you dismiss and recall at that point?
I was going to say that would.
You can, and that's what I do. But if I still need to grab some plants, if I still was, I needed to run 300 meters to grab this one and stuff, I needed. Yeah, it's just.
But that deletes your SRV, right?
No, it's back in your ship.
It's in your ship?
Yeah, it does go back to your ship.
Yeah.
Does anybody,
annoying.
Does anybody besides me find it ironic that Chig is complaining about the 5K run back to his ship when Chig is a runner?
Yeah, but I can run way fucking faster than my commander can. This guy's got straight oxygen pumped into his face, and he can only run like a. Never mind. I'm going to stop right now.
Wow, he's been stuck in a chair till recently.
Someone hit a nerve.
I did some math one day on my commander. How fucking terrible of a runner he is, and he's skinnier than I am.
I poked that bear for a reason, so keep going.
Jesus
Christ.
Okay, all right, everybody settle down. So the last one they closed is the one that I put on there. The one about FPS drops with low utilization.
Yeah, but that was the dumbest one.
Yeah, it was.
I'm kidding.
It probably had the lowest chance of being fixed.
Yeah, but had the most thought and actual evidence presented.
Max, how does it feel that that was so publicly acknowledged while at the same time resulting in nothing?
Well, the problem is since I worked up all that data and got reports from people and got all those votes and everything, I've also figured out the real cause of that because it's a CPU bottleneck is the issue. Odyssey has a really bad CPU bottleneck,
which is an engine issue.
Which is an engine issue, yeah, and you know it's going to happen especially with older engines, and like this is a DX11 engine. You know, there's a lot of things that if they rewrote it into Vulkan or DX12, they could do a lot better. But probably
could
even
you imagine this with Vulkan? Oh my gosh.
Well, the advantage to Vulkan is, I mean, it's not like it's like
it lives long and prospers.
It's not like it makes Vulkan. Look, Vulkan doesn't make better games or games that perform better than like other game engines.
Yeah, but it's DX12. So logical.
Oh yeah, I know what it is.
No.
It's
cross-platform. It's Vulkan. The advantage of Vulkan is that it's cross-platform. So it would be
damn
advantageous
if
they were gonna keep developing for more than just Windows. But anyway, they're not. So anyway, the point is, it's a CPU bottleneck. But I didn't realize that because I didn't understand what a CPU bottleneck looks like. And since I've gone through all this crap and learned a little bit more about the sort of about what you look for and what you observe when you're benchmarking and what happens with computers and video game engines and what they're doing. We see the CPU usage drop at the same time the GPU usage drops, and I'm thinking, what's going on? The game's just waiting. But what it's waiting for is just like the 1 or 2 CPU cores that are the only ones that are allowed to do whatever that process is. And the thing is, you look at your CPU and it's like, it's below 30%. Oh, look, it just dropped to 10. Well, I have 16 logical threads in my CPU, and only 2 of them, or sometimes 4, are allowed to work on Elite at any given time. So 20% is 100%. That's why it didn't look like it's a CPU bottleneck. So what's happening is the CPU threads that are working on the game are absolutely maxing out, and the computer knows that the game is my top priority, so everything else waits. And that's exactly what you would expect in a CPU bottleneck. So anyway, they're not going to be able to fix it because they can't. This is an old engine. This is the way it is. So, okay. Anyway, that's closed.
I mean, at least there was an answer one way or another. That's a silver lining kind of way to look at it.
Yeah.
What?
I told you guys
we give up.
It's funny when I first started researching the problem, the first thing I did was ask support before I made an issue tracker post. Actually, I can't remember maybe I did the issue tracker post, and then once it got a lot of votes, I asked support. I can't remember. But they came back to me right away. Like, I had all that info. Like, here's all the info. It's very specific. It's very clear. And they were like, okay, we're going to ask. The tech support people basically said, we need to ask development about this, and we'll get back to you. And a few days later, they did, and they said the answer was paraphrased a little bit. It's to do with the way the game is utilizing the CPU, and that was the answer. And at the time, I was like, bullshit. Look, my CPU usage is dropping because I didn't understand what I was looking at. It is because of the way the game's using the CPU. It's just that it's only using like 1 or 2 cores, and that's what it looks like. So in my opinion, they gave me the right answer right away. And it's just that it's not an answer they can fix. So
they gave you the answer. It's like, because computers, and
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, like, this same problem, this isn't different than it was in Horizons. What's different is now in Odyssey, there's this extra stuff going on, and the depth buffer and all the extra lighting and stuff that they need the depth buffer for. And there's extra stuff in the draw call, and that's why it takes more processing power to draw every frame in Odyssey compared to Horizons. But I don't know, that's what happened. So we put this, it's like installing a mod in Skyrim, right? They installed a mod, the Odyssey mod, onto their older game engine, and that's what it comes out on the other side. So
the Odyssey mod,
more or less.
He's not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what or you could think of it like I say this all the time, but it's a shader injection. It's basically taking the Elite Dangerous game engine, and it's not that different from like reshade that people use to like install, like change the way games look by injecting things into the draw call. They've injected a new lighting system into.
Oh yeah,
what was
being
their
a
previous
flight
engine?
simmer, I know all about that kind of stuff because
Yeah.
I did all of that stuff on Flight Simulator 10 back in the day.
And they always decrease performance because you're
Always 100%
inserting
of the
something
time.
in the middle of the draw call. So that's basically why it behaves this way. Okay, this is boring, bad, stupid content. They've closed those issues. Yay! All right.
Yay.
The issues are dead. Long live the issues. So,
Well, if they're dead. Wait, what?
Don't
Okay.
think about it.
there's a new thingy in the
It's a
game.
UK thing.
The Azimuth community goal, the Azimuth community goal.
God.
Oh, I should not be saying that.
He is on another list.
We're adding that to the loose screws
Bard said it
meetup.
first.
Good lord.
The community goal obviously completed, and the weapon exists. So it's these
And we're all
gimbaled
excited.
gimbal AX multi cannons with the Overcharge mod happened. Great. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I noticed on the day that somebody on some Discord or on the forum, maybe, I don't know, somebody shared the stats of this weapon in the size 2 form. Size 2 is not the best size for an AX multi-cannon anyway. There's a kind of a disproportionate advantage to the size 3. You basically don't want to use size 2s if you can help it. They're comparatively, relatively weaker to their size. So anyway, but regardless, the mod that's been placed on these pre-engineered overcharged multi-cannons is not even in the same universe as the actual overcharged mod on a multi-cannon, which is like a plus 70% DPS bonus. And
because Azimuth did it.
And a small increase in heat. This thing increases power draw by a not insignificant amount, but it's a pretty low power weapon anyway. The heat goes up by 350%. Okay, they're not super hot guns to begin with, but 350% heat increase is absolutely unheard of for any mod. And then for those negatives, you get a approximately 9% damage boost.
Dude, my shock cannons don't even run that hot.
Azimuth.
Well, Larkshot, I'm giving it to you. I'm giving it to you in percentages. So it goes from like 0.2 to 0.75.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It's not super hot. It's not like hot compared to a railgun, but it's a 350% increase to a negative stat.
Right.
For a 9% increase to damage. So overcharge, grade 5 overcharge should be 70% bonus to damage. And that, even half of that would, I think, be worth it. But it's 9%. It's not even remotely worth it. And these things cost mats to unlock if you're going to go buy them. I don't even want to know what the recipe is. It doesn't matter. It could be the same recipe as restocking my heat sinks. I wouldn't buy them.
The Azimuth rep is like, now these multi-cannons keep you hot enough to keep away the caustic. It's a selling point. They got to keep hot, right? The caustic's going to damage. You got to burn it off, right?
That actually kind of is a selling point.
You know what it is? Azimuth sees themselves in competition with Aegis. And since Aegis made the caustic sinks, Azimuth is like, you don't need those caustic sinks, just use our multi-cannons.
Yeah. But think about that. That's one big disadvantage to using a multi-cannon shielded build is that you can't burn off caustic. So if the multi-cannons generate enough heat that you can finally now try to do it without doing silent running and dropping your shield.
Enough. It's
I guarantee it's not enough. But
it's not
but it's better than what it was. I mean,
no,
literally, like when I tried to do it.
No, it's not better because you don't want to do it that way.
Yeah.
Hey, don't tell me how I want to do it.
Chig's been grinding the consortium for so long. He thinks AX is what you cut a tree down with.
It is. My name, I grew up in a rough neighborhood. We were Ask body spray. That's a Zach Galifianakis joke. Sorry.
Wow.
Make it stop. Make it stop.
But like, just that little bit extra heat, because like literally it is annoying, and like when your caustic sinks are empty. But the ships that I would use this on have like 8 utility slots, so I have no idea.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's dumb.
It's dumb. Azimuth, the news
not
here is
as dumb as I
Azimuth
thought.
completely falls on their face. This is a totally useless weapon.
Yeah, but people
and
hate
they should
Azimuth
be
so
ashamed of
much. Do they
themselves.
care about falling on their face?
Well, I care because I fondly remember the days when Azimuth was before the fall of Azimuth, and we used to have lots and lots of really exciting Thargoid combat with capital ships, and we had Guardian guns that worked, and you had one build for AX that you could use to kill all the ships, and
Them's the days.
you didn't have a
Here's what
bunch
I
of
know
split
about
game loops and
Those
shit
were the
like that.
days.
Here's what I know, or what I picked up from all of this, and that's that all of Azimuth's sales and marketing people are salesmen from the 50s. You see, we got this multi-cannon right here.
Right here.
They're coming in your door, they're throwing dirt on your carpet and then trying to vacuum
Hey,
it
you
up.
mind if I take a seat?
Don't you hate it when that
Trying to
happens?
vacuum it up
Mind
with
if I
a
take a seat
toaster.
and pardon my shoes? I'm just going to stay on myself.
All right.
I'm still trying to figure out how you came to that conclusion.
Just roll with it.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
this is the guy that loves
that's
the
a new-
Asp Scout as his meta ship.
Meta ship, yeah, sure.
Asp Scout rocks.
Okay. Anything else on it? I mean, I don't care
Well,
about your
here's the
opinions. I'm
here's the
right
question
about these.
The question is, are we injecting modules in the game with the lore in mind, as in like Azimuth does this, or is this some developers' best attempts to like actually accent the gameplay?
I hope it's the first and not the second.
Yeah.
You
both.
can't do that. You can't. It is. Oh, guys. I understand. Okay. I don't mean to act like I'm impatient with you. I'm not. I appreciate.
Did they call these guns the Glaives? Is my real question.
Jesus, no. Okay, look, I appreciate the discussion, and I don't think I'm not trying to sound. I'm not using this tone of voice because I think you're being stupid. It's just that you can't do that. It is a
This
game.
time.
Therefore, everything they add to the game has to work on both sides, or it's a silly move, or it's a mistake, right? It has to be. It's like the reason our ships don't just accelerate for as long as we're pushing the thruster, because we wouldn't be able to engage each other in battle, right? That's why ships have a top speed. Because it's a game, it's otherwise a space simulator, and they work hard to make things somewhat realistic, like flight assist off, non-Newtonian or Newtonian mechanics, but within game reason, so that you could actually have fun using it and interact with other ships.
Yeah.
And likewise, this thing, it has to have a lore reason. They drew that up in Galnet. That's fine. Whatever. The fact that the gun's damage boost is so pathetic for the amount of added heat is useless. That's nothing. And it was a multi-cannon to begin with, so it's not advancing the part of the plot that has to reconcile this anti-Guardian field problem that we have in the game right now, right? So it's not moving the plot. It doesn't matter from a lore perspective because they're not going to get used from a game perspective. So the whole thing just falls down, all 3 points.
Yep. Azimuth had to have it be bad because they had a chance to be part of the plot, and look where it got us.
I just think I want them to do something. See, okay, if Azimuth is just universally hated, and when they try to do something, it's also bad, then there's no reason to not universally hate them. There has to be some conflict there. The Azimuth doesn't work as a plot point if there isn't some conflict. Like when at the beginning, when we were kind of following them in, and there were all these signs we could have seen along the way, and many of us did, right? That they're going to turn out to be the bad guys, and this is going to go poorly. But the point is, there was reason, like they were making moves, they were doing things, and they were creating these formidable weapons. if they're not going to do something that makes you think about whether or not you're going to sell your soul over to the dark side for it, you know what I mean? If the thing they make, and it's like, oh man, should I compromise my values for a 9% damage boost? Or should I go use my already existing Guardian guns that are 10 times as powerful anyway? Oh, shoot. I guess I won't have to compromise my morals. Like, what?
Yeah, there's no choice.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard to expect lightning to strike twice because they did such a good job setting up the whole salvation, like the whole salvation dynamic and him being the bad guy. I had sworn off the salvation guns for in-lore reasons. Not everyone plays the game that way, right? But they did their homework on this theme and this narrative side that I was like, fuck, man, I can't like sell my soul for DPS. And then I saw how good they were, and I sold my soul for DPS. But that's beside the point.
That's in this game.
That was
There's
a
so many
conflict.
things.
It's just like if Azimuth, if the narrative theme is Azimuth being like, oh man, don't you remember us? Wasn't it nice when we're around? And they offer you a 9% damage boost. It's like, no, I didn't miss you that much. Like you got to pony up.
Yeah.
I found lightning trees.
That's a heck of a non sequitur.
You know what? That's a perfectly good segue to our next topic, which is so okay. And because we're running long, I am just going to move on. I think we got that topic. We're fine.
Yep.
So the next thing on the notes is that we're going to discuss is Down to Earth Astronomy posted a video.
Hey, I watched that.
Oh,
Dear Frontier, we need to talk. Yeah, I meant to watch it. I had forgotten, and then Nurgle reminded me, so I watched it right before we started recording. So I'm prepared to discuss.
All right.
Nurgle, you were putting this in the notes, right?
Yeah. So
you want to helm this?
Yeah. So he put this video up about 5-6 days ago, and it's Dear Frontier, we need to talk. And it struck a chord with me because a lot of this is stuff that we've kind of beat around the bush. Some of these topics, at least, maybe not his specific examples. And so he came up with 5 different things that he thinks FDev needs to either address or change the way they're doing those. So we'll go through these kind of one at a time and talk about them till we've talked enough about them. So his first example was the Thargoid content. And I think his point was the past nearly a year has been focused almost exclusively on Thargoids. And that he thinks that exclusive focus on Thargoids is alienating roughly 2/3 of the player base. He bases that on a poll he did on his site. But he says that they're alienating about 2/3 of the player base because only about 1/3 is really interested in AX combat, and that they would have been better off kind of spreading the wealth around and doing more things for different segments of the population. So, how do we feel about that?
Honestly, I kind of agree with that. Because I come and go from Thargoid combat. It literally takes a lot of energy out of me when I do it, and sometimes I just don't want to put that energy into it, you know what I mean? But again, that's just me, and that's just where I'm at.
I'm going to go, and I think Trax might be with me on this one a little bit, I agree that they've had a lot of focus on Thargoid combat, bringing it, but it's been very beginner Thargoid themed, in my opinion, with what they're doing. There hasn't been like an advancement of difficulty other than taking away our weapons, and everything that they do is kind of to get new people into it. And I think that they may have overshot the mark on people's interest in fighting aliens in this game. I mean, at the heart, a lot of people are into BGS and exploration, and they haven't added anything new to that. And they came in this in a weird spot. It wasn't like an advancement of the Thargoid stuff. It was more of a retarding of the Thargoid stuff. They just backed everything off and tried to make things simpler, like adding the caustic shards and now going back to the AX multi-cannons. And I don't know. That's where I'm coming from. So I definitely see where he's coming from with that, but I don't think it's necessarily just because they went Thargoid. I think they just went wrong. They just did it wrong.
And I agree with that.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I agree with Chig in that I don't think the issue is that they went all Thargoid. I think they went all Thargoid, and I have issues with how they did it. So
I'm gonna go with when the war broke out. It boils down to the experience we had in that system that had that Wakata station. Everyone in the system chat saying like Wakata forever. There was this group feeling that had been missing for a long time that CGs aim at, but they never really replicate. And like the whole player base was there. I think they did a fantastically, surprisingly good job at getting the other gameplay loops integrated with the evacuations and the restoring of systems and all the cargo and all that needed, and then absolutely threw it in the bin when they borked the whole war dynamic with tissue samples. Invasions don't happen. The system maps, the galaxy maps, not lit up the way it was. So all these alternatives and opportunities for gameplay that you could still coordinate, and that whole like council of players that was all engaged, all went out the window when they tipped it too hard in favor of one single thing, and it's a bummer.
Yeah. Adaxius, you touch on what I was thinking. I find myself disagreeing with Astro here because what they added with the Thargoid War wasn't just combat. Like Lark, you said, I tip in and out of Thargoid combat. Well, but that's not actually what we're talking about, because a lot was added to the game, not just combat. And like Chig said, what combat was added was made the barrier to entry was basically removed. So anyone, so there's the reason not many people as a percentage got into Thargoid combat before was because there was kind of a high skill floor and a barrier to entry to unlocks if you're going to get anywhere other than the absolute skill floor, right? And now we've essentially removed, we way lowered the skill floor to point of entry. All the barriers are gone for the most part. It's not the easiest combat in the game, but it's gotten significantly more, what was relatively available in invasion systems is all Cyclopses. So yeah, it's that, but it's all the other stuff. It's the cargo running, it's the rescue ops, which are basically just existing game loops. Stuff like burning stations that everybody already agreed was one of the best set pieces they had in the game, and isn't necessarily combat, but is an exciting way to do non-combat, which is exactly the opposite of saying, oh, everything's Thargoid, so you're alienating the player base. I don't think so. I think they really tried and in many ways succeeded in adding something that touched on a bit of practically every game loop. Or at least a significant variety of them. It's not just combat based, and the tissue sampling, like you say. But then, just like you said, then the balance of the war got tipped, and now there's basically nothing except tissue sampling and running passengers. I guess the reactivation missions are the thing, and now we can go into control systems and do harder Thargoid combat. With a kind of higher barrier to entry again. But I don't know how much good that's going to do. And the mind share is lost on it, though, because there is no push. Like you said, there's no need to organize.
A case in point of that, weeks after that initial like Tyrannus invasion, the invasion now had eight maelstroms, things had like spread out. Weeks into that, I would be running rescue missions when the invasion was still hot. I would be waiting in line and open at a rescue ship. And it's like proof's in the pudding. You can't cheat player numbers. If you're running into people in open, it's indicative of a player level of engagement. And that was weeks after Tyrannus showed up. And I thought that was, that to me was like, that was the grand slam, because I saw that I didn't have to go to Reddit or a Discord to get a feel for how people were engaged. All that ethos of like Elite's empty, you never run into people, it was gone. And they sustained that for like it was like, I don't know, 6 weeks, 2 months. And then the wheel fell off the wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I mean, if people are alienated, it's not because all of the game loops that they can participate in, they can do them against the backdrop of the Thargoid War, or they can go to the other side of the bubble and do them where they used to do them. But they're all still there. Nothing was removed. I guess so. Astro's point then would be like if they hadn't focused on this Thargoid War, they could have added other things. But the more you spread out, the shallower each of them has to be. So it's tough. It's tough.
What if they would have done something along the lines of, when you're, we have these game loops that he feels were let down. Everything about like these maelstroms could have involved other game loops, like that weird asteroid field around the maelstrom. Mining in there could have been a big thing, and
maybe.
And what exactly what you mine there could be valuable enough. And you got NPC mining ships that if you pirate, you could be stealing that stuff. So you could have piracy being a thing. You could have, exploration. There could have been these maelstroms, instead of them all showing up in all chaos, others coming in that you could be gathering details from when they're on their way in. They could have. I don't know. They could have done everything.
It's conspicuous how absent Odyssey was from the whole thing. And
no, that's the whole thing. The first time they added Odyssey to the ground war was the things on the ground that we kill, the revenants.
15.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. All right.
Yeah, he does get into that. Okay. All right.
Second topic. New ships. He brought up two interesting points. Number one, that since the Mamba is the last new ship that was added, there has been more
Phantom.
Time.
It was the same update. Mamba and Phantom.
There has been more time between when the Mamba was added and now, between when the gamer was released and the Mamba was added.
Yeah.
So more than half the game, and we haven't had any new ships. So that's point number one. And point number two, he kind of thinks that all of the effort spent on the Thargoid Titan as the largest object ever added to the game was probably wasted and could have been spent on new ships.
Which he feels would have benefited more people because of his 2/3 of players are alienated thing. So if we dispute that, then we dispute this a little bit too. But
he has a point. I don't think it's a particularly good one, but the number of people who are ever going to see a Thargoid Titan is probably pretty small. I'm going to say probably less than 5% of the player base will ever enter a Maelstrom and see a Titan, at least as we stand right now.
But the fact that you can see him on YouTube and stuff still does generate interest for the game.
Exactly.
That's true.
Right. The fact that they're there, it justifies the effort spent on them. I don't think that that's a problem. Now, back to his first point about no new ships since the Mamba and the Phantom. That is absolutely a problem. That is a huge problem, and it needs to be addressed.
Because if there's one thing any nerd, and I mean any nerd, that likes space games wants, it's more spaceships. Look at Star Trek Online, for example. There's a new freaking ship in there every freaking month, man. They're cranking those things out like it's a gumball machine with spaceships in it.
How many ships does that game have? Out of curiosity.
Oh, I'd have to look it up. Give me a sec.
A gumball machine with spaceships in it.
Yeah, I think once again I find myself kind of disagreeing with the way he makes his point, but it's not because I don't think there should be new ships. Like, I love building ships. I love engineering and digging and putting numbers to things and optimizing and finding cool ways to do something on ships. And he's basically saying that if that effort goes into new ships, it would benefit everyone instead of just the people who like the Thargoid set piece. I don't know. I don't think the game needs more Krites and Pythons and multi-purpose ships like he keeps citing. You can use a ship for anything. It's like, I don't know. Like, I think personally, if they're going to add new ships, I would like specialized ships because I think that would be more interesting. Yes. So that's just me. And I don't know. But I would love ships though, because I love ships.
Well, I'm of the impression that just adding more ships, some people have complained, well, we've got ships that can do everything already. Why do we need more? Well, that's not the point. There's people like, we know this dude named Lark Shadow who loves the Asp Scout as the greatest ship around. We have guys
Maybe they make
like
a new ship that can hold like 30 SRVs.
we have a buddy who loves the Type 7 so much for God knows why he likes a flying toaster. I don't know, but
He's
Volt
crazy.
loves the Type 7. So you add more ships, you have some aesthetic reasons. I mean, I've said in the past, getting some licensing agreements and getting ships from, old movie references and stuff, just as skins, on ships that the internal structure makes sense. I'm okay with just for some more aesthetic reasons, but also just you don't know until you get more ships out there with more, optional internal slots, utilities and stuff. Players find ways to make things useful, and they can say, "Well, that might affect game balance." Are you fucking kidding me? That is this game exactly. This game is not. We're living in an actual one-to-one representation of the galaxy where fair is not doesn't have to be fair. We're all.
I think on the whole, they've done a rather good job of making the ships balance. There's a few places where it's rough on a couple of edges. But for the most part, there is a lot of give and take to what ships are capable with. So I feel like that's one of the things that they've done well.
Yeah, but they keep. What I'm saying is balance is, why would anybody fly a small ship when a large ship could destroy it super easily, or a medium ship, or vice versa? Why would you fly a large ship because you like fast, maneuverable ships like a small ship? It's not balanced because we've got ships of all different sizes, different weapons capabilities, different abilities. And I liked what you said about, you would like to see more specialized ships rather than a bunch of more multi-purpose ships. Exactly. Things like that. Why not put out a ship specifically that is really good at plant gunning because it can land easily anywhere? It's just weird little quirks. You could have little things, and even if something ends up being just the pure meta, somebody's still going to be like, I just hate the cockpit, so I'm never flying a Fer-de-Lance, things like that. It's just, there's no reason not to put more ships in. I mean, if there were 100 ships, even if they, like I said, with the skin side of it, they could be printing fucking money by just having different aesthetics that go on to ships that already exist.
Yeah, exactly. I'm one of those morons who would buy tons of arcs to get all those skins because I love that crap.
Yeah. How on earth have we not had any more fleet carrier purchasable colors? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And what? It's your income stream, guys. What are you doing?
And I am all on board with specialist ships. I absolutely want specialist ships. But if they were to give me 7 clones of a Python that all looked different, I'm cool with that too. Yep. The galaxy, there is no downside to adding variety to the galaxy. None at all.
Yeah.
I am of no use here. I am of absolutely no use here because I think the game has enough ships.
So you're
done. Go away.
Okay,
I'm the guy.
Off with his head.
I mentioned fleet carriers, which I thought maybe was going to be a nice segue into the next thing, but it didn't. It didn't work out. But anyway, the next topic was.
I really want to bring up fleet carriers. I think we should go back to that, guys.
Oh, you're right, Audaxius.
Yeah.
What did Astro have to say about fleet carriers?
He thought you should flip-flop the times.
I agree with that.
The cooldown and the jump time should be flip-flopped.
Yeah.
And there's gameplay reasons.
This whole section of his video was more like, I think this struck me as like, these are my quality of life changes suggestions.
Absolutely.
But I tend to agree. Yeah. So that was an interesting point, right? So basically the cooldown should be the long one and the spool up should be the short timer. Mm-hmm. I can dig that. Yeah.
I could almost guarantee you it's a technical thing. He said it can't be that hard. And I was like,
no way.
It's not a technical thing. It's to give people time to get off thing.
Yeah, it's to give people. That's absolutely right. Because when you go to plot the jump, it tells you in that moment whether your jump can go to that system or not.
It spams the whole system, including people on and off the carrier with, hey, we're moving in X number of minutes as well.
Or just split the difference. Go 10 minutes before 10-minute cooldown.
I'm down.
Yeah. I don't think it's changing though.
Either
Yeah.
way, I think that's such a
It won't
minor
change.
thing. If we want to
It
talk
is.
about
It is.
carriers, I'd rather
The rest of the points are bigger. Yeah.
yeah,
That's fair,
let's
yeah.
get to his other points because this one is just it. Yeah,
So-
logically, I agree. What he said makes sense, but I don't think.
So
matters
one
a
of his
whole
other
lot.
points, which I think is not going to be very controversial, was parking the carrier over hot spots and getting some slow level of passive refueling,
Yep.
which I don't think is bad at all. I think that's a great idea.
We've said that since they launched.
Although to make the point, he says that people shouldn't be forced into different kinds of game loops. They shouldn't force a game loop onto somebody. Like if somebody's an explorer, they shouldn't be forced to be a miner to run their
Right.
fleet carrier. And I have to throw my hands up and disagree here. Like for one thing, nobody's being forced to do anything. If you're an explorer, you're not bringing a fleet carrier. Sorry,
Probably
Astro.
not, yeah.
Not everybody acts like you, and I dare say
Yeah.
most of the explorers don't. And if they do, they know what they're doing, and they've made that choice, right? And the thing about the fleet carrier is you don't. He says like everybody should have to put a mining laser and a refinery onto their combat ships or onto their exploration ships to keep it about explorers. No, they don't. If they're bringing a fleet carrier that needs fuel, that means they have a mining ship on it. Like what? It's just a completely silly point. I just don't know. I didn't get that at all. And from a gameplay perspective, of course, people should be forced into other game loops. You're playing the whole game. I mean, that's what happens in every game. When I play Half-Life, there's puzzle levels and then there's action sequences, and it's the varied stuff that keeps it going. So whatever. It's if you don't want to do it, then don't do it, I guess. But you won't experience that part of the game. Nobody's forcing you. Anyway,
I think that point comes down to, I really think he builds ships a lot like I do, in that I'm trying to make my ship do everything regardless of what I'm actually doing with it or what the ship was designed for. And if you're doing that, you run into those kinds of things and those kinds of points that he made. But I mean,
from the videos he's made.
That's why
I've gotten to the point where I just like, okay, well, if I can't do that in that chip, I can't do that in that chip. Well, who cares?
Yeah, but you're a special kind of special. He's done ships
he was saying
very
the combat
meta
pilots
builds.
complained about this. Yeah, he does he personally does super specialized builds. It's he's sort of making a point, I think, not about himself, but he said that combat pilots. Actually, he's saying that combat pilots don't. I'm forgetting what
he said. Exploration. His point was that exploration ships are forced to carry a little bit of everything in order to succeed, and that if combat pilots were also forced to carry like a mining laser on every ship, there would be a mass revolt.
But exploration people are not forced to be miners. Fleet carriers are forced to carry mining gear.
Right, he's
and
wrong.
it's a separate ship.
Yeah.
So his big thing was being able to schedule a certain number of jumps for your fleet carrier to execute without you having to do each one.
Yeah,
And
dude, I would pay ARCs for that.
Oh, so would I. I would pay ARCs for a module that did that.
Dude, and I'll take it one step back from that. Just let me move fuel from my storage to my tank.
Because he gave a great example in that this is a game we all play. Many of us have limited hours to play this game. So, if you wanted to do something, how great would it be able to be to, before you log off for the night, set your fleet carrier to make 10 jumps and go to bed, and 7 hours later wake up, it's made those 10 jumps, then you can set it to make more jumps so that you can make moving your fleet carrier work around your actual life.
Yeah,
and
that's
I would argue that
super important.
I would argue that would increase my actual in-game hours, because if you have that passive control, there's a lot more that I'm doing in the game now that I can just get there. And as long as I put in the time to get the resources and the tritium in the tank, if the game can get me there, I would have more in-game hours.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if they want to make me plot every single jump so that we're not removing some friction or something like that, that's totally fine. I get that. And I'm thinking personally, like, I don't go out into the black and explore and do things because I may want to be in the bubble again, and I have major FOMO about my combat things that I like to do. But if I could schedule 10 or 20 fleet carrier jumps and then go to bed, I would
Hell
do
yeah.
stuff. I would go out and search and explore a nebula and then be back in a couple of days. But I'm not going to spend my, I don't know what can I play? How long can I play this game in a week? Maybe 6 hours or something.
Yeah.
I think that's a reasonable amount of game time. And if I wanted to do that with a fleet carrier, that's a half or maybe 100% of my game time would be just jumping a carrier and watching TV, I guess.
And you know
That's
what?
awful.
I'm gonna
So I don't do
actually
it.
pile on this one because I agree. You should be able to do that. Like even in EVE Online, they have something like that. It still forces you to be logged into the game, but you can set your dang ship to do like freaking 1,000 or whatever jumps all the way across the galaxy, put it on autopilot, and go watch Lord of the Rings. It'll only stop if it encounters an error or a player stops you. And honestly, that shouldn't be that hard to do. I'm just saying. I don't rag on stuff that often, but even I'm like, come on this one.
What
You
about
shall pass.
what about this? What about this for
Sorry.
this for a fix?
I'm so sorry.
Most podcasters, Jesus Christ, most fleet carrier owners are people who have a lot of credits and have been playing this game for a while. And remember when they first were launching fleet carriers, the costs were like insane, like 100 million a week, 200 million a week.
year. I think it's 15 billion a year.
A lot of us at this point have reached the point where that still would be okay at this point.
would be
because
okay
it
now,
wouldn't
yeah.
really hurt us a whole lot. What if a lot of these problems could be fixed with new, really expensive modules?
I'd be
Like
cool with that.
you add like
Yeah.
a refueling crew you can have.
Yes.
A
who feel
navigational crew.
navigation crew. What if even your exploration crew? So when you jump into a system, they scan the system. So you have to jump in you don't have to jump in a ship, go out, FSS. You can FSS from the fleet carrier. Just these different modules that you can do that make the fleet carrier
Seller scans.
more. Make
That would be,
these
that would be an
modules
on-foot
expensive.
module. You should be able to go into like an observatory room and on foot. That should be Odyssey content.
Yeah.
Sit on the command deck and watch Sidewinders
call
take
up
off.
the orrery
warp out.
like display and do
game doesn't have
long range. Okay, so I was just thinking about this multiple jump scheduling thing. There is a technical issue there, right? Because every time you plot the jump, that's the moment that it scans and makes sure there's a parking spot in that system.
Mhm.
So if you're going to be plotting jumps, sure, if you're out in the black, there's never going to be not a parking spot, right? But if you do that and it crosses through a populated system, there is a chance that you could run into a situation where the fleet carrier couldn't complete the jump. So
Then you're stopped in that last system.
Yeah. No.
well, okay.
Even
Well,
simpler.
my solution would be even simpler. If I've scheduled those jumps, my fleet carrier isn't actually jumping through those systems. My fleet carrier is just doing like a ship transfer where it will only rematerialize into the world where it can interact with things when it reaches its destination after the prescribed amount of time. And it, as Astro says, it should take longer than if I plan the jumps manually. Give me a 30-minute cooldown or something. I don't care to punish me for using the easy mode. But that would be the technical, like the server workaround for that problem.
No,
the
even
carrier
easier.
just goes off the grid.
And even easier is it only goes if you're jumping all those things. Is instead of it doing all of those individual jumps, it makes that one long jump just takes that long to plot to charge up and make that one jump.
Right. So it's like doing a ship transfer. That's what Drex said.
Yeah.
You just said it a different way.
Yeah, but no.
I suppose
what they're doing is
the same thing.
plotting all the jumps along the way. It doesn't even have those in between points.
Well, I guess in both of our solutions, it wouldn't need the in between points. There wouldn't be any functional reason to not consider it one jump. Yeah,
the one time
just
that
takes
it would
a long time.
The one time that it would become an issue is if the system that you're going to also fills up in the time that charge is that jump is charging up. And in that case, you make an exception to their rule because Jesus Christ.
It reserves your spot as soon as it does the same thing it does a jump now. It checks the destination system. If there's a spot, it reserves it. It just in this case, it's going to reserve.
There you go. You're already taking up that spot.
That much time in advance. I think that's
but think
probably
about
the
how
most
you
reasonable solution.
Think about exploiting that though.
Well, I was starting to consider how
Well,
to
a
exploit
CG
that.
system. Let's say they announce a CG, you get everybody to plot a carrier jump to that system wherever they are in the galaxy. All of a sudden, that system's filled.
Somewhere in an
So-
AWS
Okay,
server
so-
farm.
So there's two things. Yes, well, it happens anyway, but that's fine because of the way the system is now. It kind of accounts for it, but it just throws up an error and says you can't do the jump. If you plot and it's going to take many hours to complete, you have the problem of, is your destination going to be ready or going to be available when you get there? So you either have to reserve it ahead of time, or you have to have a system that will bounce you to a neighboring system as a fallback, right? A fail safe system. And then the other thing is,
Either way,
it's just left.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the other thing that we have to consider is system needs to be accessible by the rules of the game. In other words, it has to be within 500 light years of an accessible system, right? Because that's the rules of fleet carriers. Otherwise, we could use this to
go to Andromeda.
Even though we're not literally plotting all the points, like there's no need for the game servers to actually plot all those in between points. We still have to have the points exist, or we've broken the rules. So anyway, whatever. This isn't going to happen.
No. All right.
This daydreaming brought to you by the Loose Screws podcast.
Well, that's why we're here. Next topic.
Exploration.
So he says exploration is what sets Elite apart from every other space game that's out there.
The only game it has no competition in.
Yeah, disagree. No Man's Sky does it pretty good as well.
No, he even mentions that.
No.
It's not even close.
Yeah, I would say that for me, not that I have a breadth of experience with a lot of other space games, but the flight model in Elite makes a big difference to me too.
That to me is number one.
Yeah.
Well, and that it's our own galaxy. That's
he specifically cites the feeling of being so alone and the feeling of space being desolate, which doesn't happen in No Man's Sky.
That's true.
And I agree that when I have like the fond memories I do have of the few times I was legitimately out there, that's what it is. It needs to be a sim for that, which is why No Man's Sky doesn't work. Right?
Okay, yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
And he went into a whole bunch of stuff about plant gunning and how he would change that. I'm not an on-foot guy. I can't comment on that.
Restore the puzzles, basically. The Twitch game wasn't good. The reflex-based game wasn't good, but taking away everything and not having puzzles there, and he has a bunch of great examples. I've thought about that stuff in the past too, like cool puzzles.
Like he was talking scanning plants of different maturity level instead of just distance. So you're scanning different plants of the same species rather than just an arbitrary genetic diversity means you travel 300 meters from it. It's just it
makes sense to me.
Silly.
But his stuff about soil samples makes really no sense to me, because why would you be testing for different metals or ores on a planet when there's no way to actually mine the planet?
Well, I think he wants there to be a way to. I mean,
that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, it is.
There should be a way to do surface mining, but there isn't. So,
there's surface collecting right now.
I think the overarching point is there is plenty of room for things like that to exist, to be doing samples, to be doing scans on the system that measure the stellar bodies and do calculations to try to learn about the history, and like what we do with astronomy now. We look at a system and using our deep space telescopes and our ways of inferring where exoplanets are and try to work out what they're made of and all this stuff. There could be plenty of analogs for this. Pop into a system and study how this particular star's life cycle went and create puzzles. Not that it has to be like difficult, but something to do that produces that data that then is worth something. When you're turning in $20 million from 20 million credits from one planet of exobiology data because the payouts are massive, and it's literally just happening automatically for you. It's I don't know. I agree. I feel like they're wasting all the work they put into these this life that there's so many different variations, and there's tons of graphics asset work has gone into that, and it's just a button. It's a lot of work for a button.
Hold a button for just
I think that little reaction game was their first little foray. They went beyond the base level design for the Odyssey exploration gameplay, and then everything else got shoved by the wayside. That there's the love and passion that went into the ship exploration with the system scanning that did not find its way into Odyssey.
Right, even that has a bit of a process you got to do, right?
And even now,
mapping.
Yeah, and they've shown they've had such success. Like I love the Thargoid War, but I am honest enough in my enthusiasm to be like, we are kind of just reskinning features, right? Like the Revenants are badass. They are just reskin skimmers, right? But I said, dude, they already have the FSS. You could have the on-foot component of that, where like you're scanning the system and you're going to the different radio signals. You could do that with ExoBio, where after the fact you have to analyze the samples. Yeah, you go out and you got your 3 samples, whatever. You now analyze them. You could reskin the FSS and do that, and we would know it, but it would be a thing. And a thing would be a lot more than the nothing that we have right now.
Reskin the pulse wave analyzer to discover plants, or the whatever it is in your SRV that shows you where minerals are ahead of you. Have that for plants, so you can find, when you're looking for that third one and there's not a lot of plants around, and you're driving all over, hopping back in your ship and flying, having some way of give me a hotter, colder mechanic so I can
SRV
find the third sample.
That SRV scanner is a pretty cool mechanic.
It is.
It has audio components to it, and which is nice when you're driving around. You can learn to sort of detect by ear that you're on the right path. But they're right there. So I'm plant scanning. Okay, I've got to find the third of this thing. I plug it into I climb back into the SRV. I plug it in, and just like the FSS, I adjust the frequency to lock onto this particular plant, and now it's going to beep at me for that particular plant. Like if I could take that SRV thing and adjust its frequency range.
You can then have the alarm yelling at you when you fly by it at 800 meters a second in your courier.
I think all that love and development time went into the settlement conflict zones so we can run around and chase little light beacons.
Right, and that's the perfect segue to the last topic, which was kind of similar to new ships in that Odyssey dropped.
And that's it.
And that's it. There hasn't been a lot since then.
Well, other than 15 updates.
And I would argue that while they haven't done as much with Odyssey content as I would have liked, which is weird for me to say since I'm almost zero on foot, that they added the scavenger mission types, bugs and all. They added the new Thargoid on foot mission types. So they have added some stuff. And I think Odyssey is kind of we've said this before, that it's a foundation for them to build on. That this was the base level, but they haven't built on it.
Yeah,
but they haven't.
And it's still pretty much entirely separate.
Yes, but that rebar looks so nice.
Yeah.
Can I toss in my maybe one cynical kind of saucy take on this?
Wait, what?
Is that as a former elite refugee that ran to Star Citizen and then ran back screaming as fast as possible, if Star Citizen is the model of game that you want, where they just throw massively expensive disconnected breadcrumbs at you and you're the little pigeon getting addicted to those crumbs, you get that idea that little random things should be added to the game and that will make it fun. I disagree. I would not have more fun. I will not have more fun with Odyssey because they throw me gimmicks.
Nobody disagrees with you.
Yeah, nobody disagrees with you.
We're with you.
They do they cross the harder hurdle of integrating it into the gameplay.
Exactly.
That's not I have a new gun. It's the design involved that gets the pieces are fine, right? Just get the chessboard to be connected.
Let me make a point that I've made in the past.
Hold on. That's why they have added there has been many updates that added a totally new mission type to Odyssey, and all this, and then this was added, and this totally new thing was added, and this other mission type, and the Revenant mission types, and now there's even some like the Revenant, the restore missions we can actually get from the ship, so they're slightly connected, and yet all that has happened, and we still say it's totally disconnected, because that's not what you have to do to connect it. It's not just a new mission type. It's still like basically an entirely separate game.
I was thinking this with the new launcher. Weirdly enough, there's the artwork, right? The Odyssey artwork. There's 3 people on the planet's surface, and there's an anaconda hovering. And I had the thought of like, there's no circumstance in Odyssey that would require me to do this. Like, be out in the middle of nowhere in exploration suits with an anaconda overhead. There's nothing in the game.
Or even be advantageous to do that.
Yeah.
Say nothing about require.
Yes, there is. There's one. There's one what that would require that.
What's that? When I squish you?
No, a screenshot.
There you go.
Yeah, there's that. Well,
go.
remember Ty was so pissed off because that one video they had and that those couple screenshots were on this super snowy looking planet that just looked amazing, and that doesn't exist in game.
Well, that was like prior to Horizons, or around the time of Horizons. There was pictures of, and we're gonna keep adding new planet types, like lava worlds were gonna be a thing that you could land on. Ice worlds were going to get revamped, and this is the concept art for what ice worlds were going to look like, instead of just being sort of a mostly flat, kind of knobby, smooth, icy surface. It was going to be snowy and stuff.
Someday we're going to get lava worlds, and I'm going to be the only son of a gun that can get down there without blowing up because I have clean drives. Ha!
My God, you and your clean drives.
Right.
You need help, my friend. Let me bring up one point real quick. On this, we're talking about disjointed. You said just throwing stuff in for the sake of throwing stuff in. This game, as we've mentioned many times, people, it's an entire fucking galaxy, and people say, a mile wide, an inch deep, all of that garbage. But for me, it's always been, I love anything they add to this game anytime, because you're trying to fill an entire fucking galaxy, but no matter what they add, it will never be enough because it's an entire fucking galaxy. So we have to wait. For that, you got to have some patience as they add stuff. But it's the disjointedness. Like right now, we mentioned, the on foot. They haven't added anything new. It's the same. I don't know, what is it? 13 guns or whatever, and 3 suits, and nothing new to any of that. Even though now we've got some aliens we can fight on the ground, and there's little things here, and they could have added some new stuff to this ground content. He's right. They put it out, and yes, now we've got these defense missions and we've got these alien missions where we go in, but there's still just variants of the same thing without adding anything new. Now, I'm going to reiterate, I don't care. They've added something new to the game. I'm happy, but it's just not enough ever. So
the game would be less if that stuff wasn't in it.
Exactly.
But it doesn't mean that they're connected. I mean, I guess the AX restore missions are the most connected thing in there.
But they're just a restore mission with floaty aliens that had beam lasers attached to them.
All right. So let me put a bow on top of this, because we're coming up on 2 hours.
2 hours here.
What are we late for
in this show? So
hey, they get breaks in the middle.
No, those fuckers drink tea. I don't care.
Yeah, so how do you count as a break?
Any final thoughts on Down to Earth's video before we move on and close this thing out?
Mortity Stetti.
Yeah,
that's the perfect segue.
TFG.
TFG, mate.
TFG, Mortity Stetti.
What do you want? TFG, what do you want?
Forget about it.
Oh, is it getting kicked back to me then?
Yeah, we're gonna put a bow on that and kick it back to you.
All right. Yep. Very good. Do you want to do any Chick Chat stuff?
We're at 2 hours. People might revolt.
Skipping it. Community corner. Okay, the AXI just posted right before we went on air, so to speak. There's a couple of brand new issue tracker things that they want you to vote for. Thargoid interceptors lose interest too early. This is something that's been happening since update 15. Thargoid interceptors zap you without turning to face you. So I would add to that. I don't know if I actually haven't looked. I assume there's an issue tracker thing for this, but the Thargoid hearts also don't glow like they used to anymore. Anyway,
That's
whatever. Yeah, well, I mean, they haven't fixed it, so they glow when they first light up. They glow pretty good for just a few seconds, and then it goes away, and then you kind of have to look for sort of the white distressed texture.
That's how they added difficulty to Thargoid fighting.
Apparently,
yeah.
It didn't stop me from smooshing a couple of conflict zones all solo. Still got it anyway. So
not what she said.
Links are in the show notes for those two things that AXI posted. Buckyball Double Trouble, 2 stops per system for 4 systems. That's the current race. I think it is about to start.
About to start. Yeah, I got the announcement this morning. I'm going to go do that one. I think that one looks like fun. I'm almost back to the bubble.
Yeah, the conceit is that every system on the list has 2 stops in it. So you got to work out whether it's going to be faster to super cruise or faster to jump out and back. And then, once again, PitCon, Fur Pits Conference, PitCon gathering in Nottingham, England on September 16th. Tickets are there. There's a link there.
It's BYOB. Bring your own bow.
The Elite On Foot Combat Discord is in here. That's probably left over from some other week. That's fine.
Yeah.
Elite On Foot Combat Discord. Join them up. They've got tips. All right. Cool. Is the rest
tips?
They got tips and they'll guide your tips.
Wow.
What about this stuff? Is this the movies? We doing movies?
Yeah.
Oh, there are movies this week?
We got movies? Fuck.
I never pulled up the notes, so help me out.
I'm going to hit the highlights. 25 years ago, Saving Private Ryan.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Steve Spielberg. What can he say?
The beginning of that movie is still some of the most incredible 15, 20-ish minutes. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
30 years ago.
You were there. Was it realistic?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
He was holding the camera.
Yeah. I was on the beach waving them ashore.
Is Tom Hanks as nice as everyone says?
Were the Nazis as terrible as everybody said? That's a definite yes.
That's a definite yes. You have to ask.
Those guys were total dicks.
Oh fuck! I did not go there.
Total jerks.
Damn.
My apologies to all of Europe. I'm sorry.
30 years ago, Robin Hood Men in Tights. Which it has its moments.
Pirate Robert says Robin Hood. It's all good.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly how BurCon or whatever PitCon is going to go. It's going to look just like that.
Men in Tights, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
40 years ago, National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yes.
There you go.
The Family Truckster.
The Family Truckster, yes. And then the absolute cherry on top of this week's movie anniversaries, 45 years ago, National Lampoon's Animal House.
Yes.
Wow.
I live by a motto from that movie.
Which is?
Cheese?
No. What is it? What is it? God damn.
He's not living very well right
Hold
now.
on. No.
You're all over it. Jake.
It's how I've lost weight. This is how I plan my diet and everything. And it is dumb, drunk, and fat is no way to go through life, son.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life.
Fat, drunk, and stupid. Yep. I was in the right theme, but yes, that is no way to go through life. And I thought about that one time, and I'm like, man, if you're drinking, you're going to get fatter, and you're going to do a lot of stupid things. So really, just reduce your drinking. You're going to be less fat, less stupid, and you will lose weight. So yeah, it's good.
And will also be more cheese.
Yeah, I consider Animal House to be part of the trinity of great movies, and that would be Animal House, Caddyshack, and Blues Brothers.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Hit it.
Fair play.
Mine's the Star Wars prequels.
Okay.
Mine's the Star Wars sequels.
I was about to ask for podcast reviews from the listeners, and now you fucked that up.
We're gonna
damn that, Daxius.
Got a segue for you. So, anyways,
sabotage it in edit.
Okay, everybody. Anyway, regardless of that last bit of nonsense, if you like the show, do the right thing. Give us a review. Come join the Discord and links in the show notes, and support the show on Patreon because you should. You should do that.
Yeah.
Buy the
Good.
mug.
Buy the mug. Yeah, there's a merch store too. loosescrewsed.com. We got t-shirts, we got mugs.
We're gonna have the Motor T Steady
Motor T
mug on a
Steady-
mug.
Yeah, the mug on a mug I think is coming pretty soon.
shortly.
I think we'll probably also do an actual Motor T Stete mug, right? Like
Yeah,
I
why not
think we should
both?
have two sides.
the one
of it,
I'll
right?
buy.
The mug on a mug, and then just the regular mug too. So,
Multiple branding opportunities.
yeah, it's why not?
PFG on one side, Motor T Steady on the other. Sounds
For
lovely.
those who have ever looked at our merch store, that's usually what I go for, is all possible options. So there's no filter here. Anyway, that's the size of it. So thanks everybody for joining. Thanks Audaxius, Lark Shadow, Chig, and Nurgle.
Everybody out there, make sure you're polishing your Python.
Christ.
Butter your cutter.
And we're out.
And it's done. See you later.
Bye.